Hello, welcome again. Let us continue the discussion on thermodynamics. In the previous video, we concluded that we will be studying classical thermodynamics. So, studying of classical thermodynamics, we also call it as a system approach. Quite often, I have used the word system without really explaining what system is. So, let us understand the meaning of the term now, system. System is simply a region of interest where I would like to perform some kind of analysis. It's a region of interest. There are inputs to the system and there will be output from the system. So here I have shown, let us say a character, a person is interested in knowing what's happening over here. So he will just select the region and find out what inputs are getting in, what's happening over here, and what output is coming out. So let me elaborate this. We have many questions we would like to answer in thermodynamics. As I mentioned earlier, let me talk about this jet engine. As I said earlier, this is the compressor, this is the combustion chamber, this is the turbine, there is a nozzle over here, fine. The air enters over here, it gets compressed, fuel is injected into it, combustion happens, and high pressure, high temperature gases are generated over here, and these gases are expanded in the turbine, and again these gases pass out through an exit nozzle, producing thrust. We are giving heat input and we are getting thrust here. I want to answer many questions here. How this system works? How does this work? How much fuel is burnt? By burning this fuel, how much heat is produced? How much thrust is produced? How much work is produced? So how much of this, whatever work that we get, how much of that work got converted into, say, thrust? How much of heat is lost? Maybe from this body heat is lost. There are a lot of gases going out. Then how much of heat these exhaust gases are carrying out? Whatever work is produced by the turbine, how much work of this turbine we have given back to the compressor for compressing the air? And you have got the exhaust gases here. What are the constituents of the exhaust gases? What was the chemical formula of the fuel and what are the constituents of these exhaust gases? Like that, there will be many questions. You have to answer all these questions while designing and developing an efficient, say, jet engine. Thermodynamics is the subject which answer all these questions we analyze. So for that, we go for the system approach. So let us understand what we mean by system, or we call it as thermodynamic system, what we mean by that. As I mentioned earlier, it is a region of interest. Now let us consider a steam power plant. I would like to know how exactly the water gets converted into steam, what is its pressure, what is its temperature, how it expands in the steam turbine, and how it produces the work, how much work it produces. Then again the steam which is coming out, what is its pressure, What is this temperature? How again I can convert this exhaust steam into water. Again, how I convert this water again into steam. For this, how much heat I must supply, how much work I am getting here, how much of that work I can convert into power. All these kind of questions I have to answer. In addition to this, here you can see here the gases. After giving out part of the heat, some gases are like, exhaust gases are going out. What are those gases? How much heat they are carrying out? As I mentioned, what are the constituents of those gases? All these kind of questions we have to answer. Now let us say I'm interested in understanding the turbine. Correct? How much heat should be given, how much work it is going to produce and all that. So around this is my region of interest. So I'll just draw a boundary. I will draw a boundary. Okay, this whatever is enclosed, embedded, enclosed in this is what I call it as a system. And to this system, there is heat getting into it. It is crossing the system and crossing the boundary and getting into the system. You see here, the work is crossing the boundary and I'm using. So I am standing over here, I am the surroundings. Correct? So now the thing is, all this whatever is inside this boundary we have, we call it as a system. All other things we call it as surroundings. So in thermodynamics, we simply draw an arbitrary shape figure, and whatever is inside the air, we call it as system. Outside this, whatever is there, we simply call it as surroundings, and this is what we call it as a boundary. This system boundary can be an imaginary boundary or it can be a solid boundary. Thus, I can say the first step in every thermodynamic analysis is to specify the system. A thermodynamic system is defined as a quantity of matter or a region in space upon which attention is concentrated in the analysis of a problem. My problem is how much work I get. To get this much of work, how much heat I must supply. At what rate I should burn my coal. Everything external to the system is called as surroundings, or what we can call it as the environment. And the system is separated from the surroundings by the system boundary, may be either fixed or it can be a moving boundary. It can be simply an imaginary line or it is a real one. A system and its surroundings together we call it as universe. Okay, this is what we call it as a region of interest. That's what we call it as a thermodynamic system. So if they ask what exactly thermodynamic system is, this is the definition. These thermodynamic systems we can classify as closed system, open system, and isolated system. What do you mean by closed system? Okay, the water enters into this region, gets converted into steam, it expands in the turbine, this turbine produces work, again the steam gets condensed, it will become water, again it is reheated, and it goes on like this. The same water again and again. So this matter, you see, it simply remains within the system. No new water is entering over here, or we are not letting out the steam go out. That is why we can say a closed system is a system of fixed mass. Okay. Now here you can see this is the boundary of the system I have put. No mass is entering into the system or no mass is leaving the system. But heat is crossing and entering into the system, and work is crossing and getting out of the system. So there is no mass transfer across the system boundary. There may be energy transfer into or out of the system. That is, heat is entering over here, work is over here. So there is heat interaction and work interaction. Such a system we call it as closed system. It is a system of fixed mass. What is an open system? You just consider, instead of putting the boundary like what I had in the previous slide, if I just put a boundary like this here, we just put the boundary, consider this is the system. You see here, water is entering over here, getting converted into steam, steam is flowing out. You consider this jet engine, air is entering, the gas is going out of this boundary, right? So the open system is one in which matter crosses the boundary of the system. You can see if this is the system, there is a mass crossing. It may be getting in, getting out, whatever it is. In addition to that, there will be work interaction and heat interaction. So the mass within the system may or may not vary with the time. I will explain this further. Most of the engineering devices are generally open systems. Next, let us see what is an isolated system. You see this thermos flask. I may keep some hot tea inside this and close this one. So it is designed in such a way no heat gets into it or no heat crosses. Neither, and the mass is changing. Neither no mass is entering nor mass is leaving over here. So thus there is no heat interaction. It is not giving out any work, no work interaction, no mass is entering or leaving, no mass flow. Such a system I can call it as an isolated system. It is one in which there is no interaction between the system and the surroundings. It is a fixed mass and energy, and there is no mass or energy transfer across the system boundary. System and the surroundings together, as I mentioned, we call it as universe. Thus, there are three types of system: closed, open, and isolated system that we use in thermodynamic analysis. There is another term that we use is control volume. You just consider this compressor. This is the inlet of the compressor, this is the exit of the compressor. This compressor is driven by a motor. So as I switch on the motor, simply mass enters into it, then compresses, mass gets out over here. This volume is fixed. Into it, mass is entering, mass is leaving. This volume, I call it as control volume. And I just put a boundary just like that I call it as, this is the control surface. The three-dimensional thing, it is a control surface, you can say. So for thermodynamic analysis of an open system, because mass is entering, mass is leaving, it is an open system. There is a flow of mass into and out of the system. Attention is focused on a certain volume in space, known as the control volume, bounded by a surface called the control surface. Matter as well as energy can cross the control surface. Work is entering over here, mass is entering over here. You can say some of the time this gets heated up, then the heat is getting out, mass. So there is a mass entering and leaving, work entering, heat interactions are happening. Correct? So matter as well as energy can cross the control surface. There is no difference between control volume and something like open system. So this I have indicated. There is a mass flow in, mass flow out, heat Q, and the work. And this is a constant volume. This I call it as the control volume. Sometimes you see here, this air that is entering over here, air is getting out, I said. Somewhere I said gas is entering, gas is getting out over there. Water is entering, steam is getting out over there. These, what we call them as something like working substances. It's a medium through which I can transfer energy. So there's something like in thermodynamics we use the word pure substance. What is a pure substance? It's a substance of constant chemical composition throughout its mass. Suppose if you take water, H2O, that is the chemical composition. So you take one part of the water, its chemical composition will not be different from another part of the water like this. So it will be chemical composition is same, constant throughout its mass. We call it as it's a one component system. It may exist in one or more phases. What do we mean by one or more phases? Same, you consider that water. When it is in ice is formed, we can say it's a solid phase. If I melt it, I'll get water. So I'll get liquid phase. I boil it and evaporate, I'll get gaseous phase. Correct? So it can appear, matter can appear in the solid phase, liquid phase, or gaseous phase. So every substance exists in any one of the three phases, solid, liquid, and gas. For example, water is a pure substance. It may exist in the solid phase as ice, in the liquid phase as water, and in the gaseous phase as steam. The phase is defined as quantity of matter homogeneous throughout in chemical composition and physical structure. Suppose in a glass of water, you have pieces of ice. That is, one is solid, another one is liquid. This is heterogeneous. So if a system consisting of a single phase is called homogeneous system, while a system consisting of more than one phase is known as heterogeneous system. Air is not a pure substance, it is a mixture. So be clear about that. A pure substance is a substance of constant chemical composition throughout its mass, and it should be a one component system. Okay, but it can exist in one or more phases. What is a phase is defined as a quantity of matter homogeneous throughout in chemical composition, and what is important is physical structure. Correct? It is in the liquid phase or it is in solid phase. Correct? It is in the vapor phase. That's how it should be, composition and physical structure. If it has more than single, then it is heterogeneous. Suppose you put some cubes of ice, maybe in a glass of water, then you have solid phase as well as liquid phase. Okay. So also, what is a pure substance? What is a mixture? You can see in a mixture, chemical composition is different at different points like this. So earlier I explained the working of, say, an engine. Here you have air and fuel mixture, then you burn, then it will become gas. That's what we call it as, this is the working substance. This is the one which transfers energy. Or in a refrigeration system, the refrigerant that flows is the working substance. So a fluid medium which is responsible for energy transfer. It can be air, it can be gas, it can be steam, it can be water. We call that as working substance. Okay, that's how we can, this now we will continue like with the concept. So these are some of the thermodynamic ideas. Using these, we can now further develop the subject. So whatever I explained, I would like to really demonstrate with some kind of a video, right? So at this point, let me stop. Thank you very much. And in the next section, you can see the video. Thank you very much.